Alright, what is up guys? It's me, Vex, and yes, I know what you guys are going to say. What? Vex? Vex? Insert Soldier Boy meme here. Yes, Vex, the same guy who said he was going to get more consistent and he was going to come back and drop a couple gaming videos here and there, and the series was going to get back started. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm not going to lie. I've been wanting to get back into the grind. I've been wanting to get back to being consistent, or somewhat consistent. I was somewhat consistent at one point. And I do have like the next video that was supposed to be after the last one I dropped, waiting to be edited. But I've been, getting caught by life, work, stuff outside of that, going on. Like I've mentioned, sometimes I just come home, I'm tired, or my girlfriend's tired, and we don't want to cook something, or whatnot, or stuff like that. Life happens, and so sometimes we life too hard and we gotta like take break from life. So I've been taking somewhat break from life and YouTube, even though that wasn't the plan, that wasn't the goal. The goal was to build the channel and get more subscribers, but I'll show you guys a little bit of what I've been doing. I've been redoing my room. I think I mentioned my room last time and that I was going to put videos in, and I don't think I did, but this time I will. Boom, 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 3 pictures there, and then maybe like a video right now. And yeah, so I've been redecorating around, making space for new figures and bringing in figures that have come around in the time that I've been away. And on top of that, I've been playing games with the homies, doing stuff with the homies on the game. A lot of times our schedules conflict. Some of us work different times, and it just doesn't end up working out to all play together. So we kind of work around each other's schedule and stuff like that. So I've been lifing, and I'm very sorry that I've been as negligent with my channel and the couple people who were watching my videos consistently. If you were, thank you. I really appreciate that, and I hope I can get back to that. That's the goal. I'm going to try my best to start getting videos out again. I know I've said that quite a bit now, and I know that probably reflects bad on me as a creator starting off, but I do get caught up with a lot of different things sometimes, and despite trying to make time for recording and editing and stuff like that, considering that I do it on my own and I don't have the resources to outsource it to someone else to edit for me, it just takes more time for me. So hopefully you guys are very lenient with that and can understand it. But I am wanting to build a very consistent schedule, whether it be for sometimes streaming and sometimes making videos and stuff like that. But that's not what the focus of the video is today. If you saw the title, yes, I'm talking about Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamers. If you don't know who he is, he's a longtime YouTuber who has blown up from doing videos on like dark web deep dives, and just videos talking about tech, cybersecurity. Linux is a lot of the videos that he does, and gaming videos as well. He also did at one point good long essay like videos, ones like the ones where he was exposing Gerard from The Completionist for trying to siphon more money into his quote-unquote foundation. I liked that, but Mudahar has been on a downward spiral as of late with some of the things that he's been getting caught into. If you've been keeping up with the Some Ordinary Gamer lore, or just the chronically online lore amongst the common YouTubers, commentary YouTubers, and the like, there was a time where Mudahar completely denounced Nux, another commentary YouTuber, and basically just outright was like, I don't want to associate with him anymore. Gave his reasonings, did a whole video. Then the literal next day deleted the video, did an apology, talked about how he took it back, and completely flip-flopped on the situation. It was crazy. I don't understand how Nux kind of like accepted his apology. I considering the circumstances, I understand being the bigger person and being mature about it, but man, come on, he threw you under the bus and then tried to be like, oh, I was making judgments based off of things that were already whatever, like, no, that's not cool in any way, especially for someone who claims to be your friend. That's not cool. Personally, that's just me. Yeah, can't talk for Nux. Nux, forgave him, and that's him. That's cool. But on top of that, there was then later controversy with his friendship with Mama Max and the situation that Mama Max brought upon a lot of other YouTubers with his, trying to get YouTubers to rally behind his pred catchings. And we all saw how that went when he came up with this vampire cult-like leader story. And now
I could literally cancel you, Charlie. I could literally cancel you. And I choose not to. It's true, though. It's the truth. Like, I'm the friggin' pedo hunter.
Now where are we at? Mama Max trying to snipe Mudahar from afar, and trying to snipe his old friends now that he's been given time to compile videos. Like, what? So Mudahar hasn't been on the greatest of track records with certain situations he's gotten caught up with. There's more probably that I could name. They're not on my mind at the moment. I'm more focused about what we're going to be talking about, which is his involvement in talking shit about the Nintendo Switch 2. If you don't know, and if you didn't know, then I don't know what fucking rock you're living under, but man, the Switch 2 came out yesterday, right? And there was a whole midnight release for it. We haven't seen midnight releases for things in a while. We used to midnight release at GameStop all the time for games, new games that were dropping, especially the big ones. I know it was a big thing with COD. It was a big thing with other, major titles that were coming out at the time, and then they stopped as GameStop's peak, lessened and companies switched over to online handling and whatnot. It became less of a spectacle, but they did it again, and a lot of people showed out and had their fun, whatever. That's cool and all, but we're not here to talk about the happy, the good. We're here to talk about the fact that Mudahar is a flip-flopping, hypocritical, just like I don't understand it, bro. How are you going to spend 2 months of your time advocating for gamers to, quote, vote with their wallets, right? If Microsoft is trying to say that us gamers need to get used to not owning our games, and the whole slogan is, if we're not owning games, then piracy isn't stealing, then we should, kind of stand on that 10 toes down. I'm one for boycotting these gaming companies, or let alone any other company that is feeding into their greedy ambitions of siphoning money from the poor, just because there's a consumerism virus going around where, you want to buy things. You want things that you like. Things that you like are being made, and thus you want those things, and so you will work to get money to buy those things. It's common knowledge. If you like something, you're gonna work hard to get it if it really matters to you. And a lot of people have that mindset when it comes to things like gaming consoles, new games that are coming out, especially video games that they've been waiting on for years, collectibles, figures, stuff like that. I'm someone who's very much, fallen into the consumerism side of anime figures. I love my animes and I watch a variety of different ones, but I specifically love the figures that come out of them and the details that you get, because it's like you took it out of the screen and literally brought it to life in front of you. I'm literally looking at manga panels sometimes right in front of my face, because the figures are doing the poses, the panels, just like how they were drawn. And sometimes the detail is so great that you will spend more than $100 on these things, just like how you would for a gaming console. But this is the Nintendo Switch 2. Are we kidding? We're literally getting the Switch 1 with just a couple evolutionary steps. Like right here, the only thing different is that these clip on magnetically rather than slide on. Okay, big whoop. They could have done this the first time. Magnets aren't a new thing. Not only that, they went and changed the entire ergonomic look of their, accessory controller. If you had the original Switch, if you take a look at it, slide your Joy-Cons in, give it a feel. Do you notice that round edge right here at the bottom meets the end of your controller, and it almost makes it feel like you're holding an actual controller, like a PS5 controller, an Xbox controller, like the Pro controller, right? Well, this one comes not only raised off of the edge right here, so there's a gap here where your hand, if you have a, big hand, the bottom edge of your hand is going to slip right in there. You know, you're going to feel your skin go in there, on top of the fact that you're gripping onto it and it's semi raised off of the controller itself. That fucking sucks. I'm not going to lie. That's probably going to feel uncomfortable, and you're going to want to get a pro controller. And they probably did that for that specific fact, for the fact that it would encourage you to buy an accessory for it, like a regular controller, because they know that some people can't game with something so small, even though it is a little bit significantly bigger than the original Switch. If you do switch even to OLED, if you do a comparison, it is bigger. That is true. The screen did get bigger. It is a bigger console, and that isn't an exaggeration. I can understand that, right? The dock, the differences that they took from this was giving us literally a round edge and the screen not being fucking close to the end, so that it doesn't scratch up if you didn't have a screen protector, because that was a problem with the Switch 1. It was so close that the screens would scratch if you didn't have a screen protector. So, you know, even if you did do the best to take care of it, it wasn't going to come out looking nice. And there's nothing crazy. There's a new theme on the intro. The kickstand is a fucking U, and now you're able to use a mouse. There's no keyboard, so I don't understand what the point of a mouse function on a handheld is if you're not gonna have a keyboard or, you know, another way to control. I don't know. How many mouse games are you playing on the Switch? You're playing Mario Kart, Legend of Zelda. How many, like, unless you're playing it on the PC on an emulator, you know, I can understand wanting, you know, the mouse and keyboard function. But on the Nintendo Switch, what do we need a mouse function for? This isn't the DS, where it had a convenient, nice touch screen that the stylus was very great for, and it was worth buying a bunch of different personalized styluses for. That I can understand. Or, you know, the perks of having accessories that actually work towards the games, like, you know, the steering wheel for the Wii, or, you know, the little hunting gun for the hunting games, the bow for Link's bow training game. Like, accessories that make sense. Why do we need a mouse on a console that you're going to stream on your TV, and it's just basically a low-end PC? Like, the voice chat is like, you, it's whack. Oh my god, Jesus Christ, I can't even speak. That was disgusting. I'm ruining it. But the camera, not even worth. It's gonna run 480p, and it, like, for what? They couldn't have built it onto the Switch. They built it on to the DSi. They built it on to the 3DS. They built it onto things that probably didn't need a camera. I'm pretty sure, did the Wii U have a camera? I wouldn't be surprised if the Wii U had a camera. I didn't own a Wii U. I owned the Wii. I never made it to the Wii U, but I wouldn't be surprised if it had a freaking camera on the gamepad somewhere. But a webcam? Are you kidding me? Like, at this point, literally just get a PC. They're literally telling you, hey, we're giving you a low-end PC to your face, and you're going to buy it. Look at all these prices. The original prices for this was right here, as you can see, and now they're up ever since the, quote, tariffs and whatnot. But Nintendo literally has a video where they claim that the prices for the Switch were set before any tariffs came out. They weren't even talking about tariffs when they came up with the prices. So no, they weren't going to change these prices anymore, because this is what the prices were going to be, whether the tariffs dropped or not.
We're sitting here on April 2nd. It just so happens, as we're recording this, the President of the United States right now is announcing his tariffs. You and so many other executives are pulling their hair out, trying to figure out, how do I price my products? How did that come into play as you're deciding how to price the Switch 2 here in the United States?
Yeah. As we price the Switch 2, the price we announced today of $449 for the single SKU, we didn't consider tariffs into that equation. We felt that that was going to be the right price point for our consumers and the right value proposition, if you will, for the device that we're creating.
It doesn't matter. The tariffs were not the cause of the price gouging that they did here. They took advantage of the fact that people were going to assume, oh yeah, you know, tariffs, and they upped the prices of which they obviously were going to fucking steal from you from. $50 for a 480p camera is wild, and when you could get a webcam that does better than this, probably for cheaper. I don't know. I don't use webcams because obviously you don't see my fucking face, so I wouldn't know. But for someone to advocate for there to be a boycott over these things, because again, they're getting greedy. I mean, $500 for this. We paid $500 for the PS5, yes, but that is a whole different situation. You're getting a beefier end console that can run games a lot better than what you could run on a Switch 2, I imagine, right? I don't own the thing because, again, I'm not going to buy it. Not right now, at least. If they lower prices on this thing, or someone is selling it at a cheap, like, you know, alternative, maybe. But not right now. I don't even have the money to buy a Switch 2, let alone a bundled version of it for a game that's going to go stale in 20 minutes, a game that I'm only going to ever play when the homies are around. And, you know, I mean, unless you're a very social person and you're playing online and you have friends, then you're going to be using this all the time. But for someone like me who just hangs out with my girlfriend and maybe like my 1 to 4 friends on occasion, I'm not going to need Mario Kart World, or let alone an entirely new Switch, when I can play Mario Kart on the Switch 1, which my friends will be more likely to have, so that we could all play together, right? Like, this is more like some evolution, no revolution here, you know? Like, this is evolutionary, not revolutionary. Like, it's just a couple upgrades, and they, you know, deemed that worthy enough of upping the price on it, when honestly, if you wanted something equivalent to the Switch 2, I guess now thinking about it at this point only makes sense if you're someone who's tech oriented. My suggestion would be to get a Steam Deck, because with the Steam Deck you can play Steam games, PC games. A lot of the PC games are on the consoles, right? PC games, and on top of that, emulate, you know, if you can work around that and work your way around some emulators, then you'll be fine. You can play all these games plus Nintendo Switch games and more on a Steam Deck perfectly fine. There's tools for that, videos for that, tutorials for that, but I understand that these are family systems that, you know, cater more to the family, and obviously little kids are going to want it. So now this point sounds mute, because unless you're some tech wizard or you're very good with a computer and can search up on YouTube, then you're not going to know what to do with the Steam Deck, and thus you'll want a Nintendo Switch, which prepackages the entire thing for you. So maybe that point is wrong, right? But the main point here is that bro spent 2 months talking about how we're going to boycott the Switch 2. Do not buy the Switch 2. Like, here, look, let me show you, because this is crazy. And like, again, I used to really like Muda. Like, as of late, even though I'm still subscribed, I don't know. Sometimes I can't even like bear to come watch a video anymore. But this is the same guy who, here, look, here. Where is it? Did he take them down? No way. Surely not. He's been talking. Here it is. Okay. Why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch 2 right now, a month ago. And whether he explained a good reason or whatever, at the end of the day, he's been crapping on Nintendo for the longest time for their greed and the stuff that they're doing, just to then fold the moment it drops at the midnight release. That's crazy to me. Bro told us, nah, you gotta vote with your wallet. You gotta talk. You gotta tell these companies that you're not gonna fold to them upping the prices on things that we enjoy. And then the moment the midnight release comes around, bro buys the Nintendo Switch 2. He just cops it. And then here we go. Switch 2 dropped, and it's not impressive. This video, he spent the majority of the video kind of glazing the Switch. I'm not gonna lie. I recommend you guys watch this video, because it was very much clickbait, and the comments definitely won here, because they went crazy and they let him know like what is going on, you know. Let me pause that. No free ads here. As you can see, you know, I did a little commenting, because I was also very disappointed. Bro told us not to buy it, so he had a better chance at getting one early. This is probably true. I'm not going to lie. I'm not gonna buy the Switch 2. Folds like origami and buys the Switch 2 right on launch day. You cannot make this up. He didn't even wait a week. Exactly. Bro couldn't even wait. Maybe, like, you know, keep us in the unknown. Charlie has been getting like thrown accusations that he's going to be the next creator to flip-flop and get the dang Switch 2. Like, I just came from a video of his where I was watching him talk about how, you know, people are thinking that he's going to be the next one to get the Switch 2, but he's not, because he understands that these prices are crazy. He understands that this isn't something that we should let slide. This started with the whole 2K situation, like games that just started going up in prices, and then we allowed them to stay there, and now here we are paying $90 for a fucking video game that's going to go stale soon. $90, $16 for a Big Mac, bro. Shit is crazy. What are we doing, man? Like, I still don't understand what the point was and why he thought it would be a good idea to make a video. I understand, oh, maybe you want to keep the people informed and whatnot, like whatever, right? But he should have kept that to himself. Honestly, he couldn't even wait a week. He couldn't even give us some time to be like, hey, maybe Muda is right. Maybe we should vote with our wallets. Maybe we should boycott these companies. But no. Bro folded faster than laundry, and here we are looking at him enjoy his Switch 2 while the rest of us who are actively boycotting or either obviously can't afford the extreme prices of the Switch 2 are sitting here watching everyone flip-flop on day one, talking about how, oh, you know, it's not that bad of a console, actually, you know, it's actually looking pretty good. Like, weren't we just talking about how it's not worth, how crazy it is that they think they can get away with this? Like, this makes no sense to me. And I'm glad that Charlie kind of like basically indirectly called him and other people out, because the idea of telling us to, you know, we gotta be the voices and the masses to bring this to a head, and then be the first one to flip-flop out is just embarrassing. It's honestly disappointing. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day was severely ruined. And maybe that's me being, you know, a little chronically online, just because of the fact that I genuinely thought more people would kind of rally behind this type of thing. I mean, it's outrageous. It is. You wouldn't catch me buying one of these if they offered it to me like at 400, brother. You know, I don't think $400 for this is that much of a of a worth for what we're getting. Like, I'm only getting a bigger screen and maybe a better controller, but once that stick starts to drift, how easy is the repair going to be? And once these magnets start to fail, how easy is that repair going to be? We're going to have situations where the Switch controllers won't want to connect to your magnets anymore because they weaken over time, or someone has coated them with gunk, or your kid has coated them in slime, or your kid fucked it up, or they put some pencil or something. Or how many reports are we going to get of families having to buy multiple Joy-Cons because their kids mess them up, tear them up, don't press the button, snap them off? I mean, eventually we're going to hear a case of how the red bit here, this little ring, snapped off because it stayed magnetized to the Switch and completely snapped off. I mean, I don't know, right? I'm just saying these are possibilities for things to go wrong. And again, the things that I pointed out, I just don't think it's worth it, guys. I really don't think it's worth it. This is what you're buying for. You can't even use the mouse feature without having to buy this extra bit so that it stabilizes your thing. What kind of BS is that? Like, what are we doing here? A charger for $30? Gang? What? And I bet you they're gonna try to tell you that this is the only charger that's best used with the Switch 2. When we'll probably find like tests from tech people giving you good alternatives for a charger, because, like, you know, like, what are we talking about here? This is all crazy. I don't know. Personally, I'm not buying the Switch 2. I'm good with the Switch that I have right now. I barely even play the Switch, and there's not even a lot of games released yet for the Switch 2 that would that would explain or give a good reason for me to get a Switch 2. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing worth it in the end for this. Just a Cyberpunk I can play on the PS5 or my PC, or, you know, anywhere else. Like, I don't think having, like, I don't think it's gonna be revolutionary to play Cyberpunk on the Switch 2. Like, yeah, you can play a handheld now for the people who don't have a Steam Deck and don't have a good, handheld that isn't Steam, whatever. Maybe the AOGs or the Retroids, whatever. Maybe you don't know about that. That's fine. Like, okay, cool. Now you get to play Cyberpunk. But gang, honestly, you would have done well playing it on a console where it now runs a lot decently better than what it did when it released. It is now playable on the console. I played it a couple months ago. Earlier in the year, I got really sick and I ran through Cyberpunk in an entire week, and it was great. It was amazing. It ran fine, no glitches, no nothing for me. Now, obviously, I bought it recently after the many patches because I waited for this game just as much as anyone else did when they initially released it, and was very disappointed when the game was a flop because it sucked. And now it's fixed. But to justify getting a Switch 2 just to play a game like that, no, I don't think that's a good justification either. So for the people who are going to buy the Switch 2, for the people who are going to flip-flop like Mudahar, some ordinary hypocrite, I hope you have your fun, right? Enjoy your new handheld while it lasts, while the hype lasts. But I hope you understand the contribution that you put forward for gamers on this premise alone. I mean, again, this could have been a perfect chance to show gaming companies, hey, we're not gonna take this outrageous BS anymore with you guys raising the prices every year like it's a new game. This is an Assassin's Creed where you can drop a new one every year and the people were gonna like it up until you dropped Unity, and then everything went downhill, and now people shit on the games before they even come out. Whereas, okay, maybe Odyssey and Origins, and I hear Valhalla was pretty good. They kind of brought it back. But, I mean, the other games that came, after Unity weren't even that decent, and they could have just giving themselves some time. Instead, they kept dropping something new and eventually got bad. These people raise the prices every year, and eventually it's going to get tiring, and I know that people are then going to be like, oh, this is outrageous. We should have started years ago. We should have boycotted when they raised the prices from 60 to 70. And why didn't people do enough then? Why didn't people speak out more then? When that's literally what a lot of us have been doing. If you go to a lot of comment sections in gaming videos, when it came to releases for games that were going to be outrageously priced, for deluxes that were going to be outrageously prices, that we weren't going to stand by, people were saying, don't buy day one. Do not pre-order the games. Let them see that people actually want not only games on release that can function fully day one, no update required, no glitch or patches are needed. A game that can run off of day one from the disc is very rare nowadays, where we get games that aren't even fully complete, and then we're getting updates months and years later to the point where now we're praising them. Okay, no hate towards No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk. I love those games very much. Both games are ones that I wanted to play when they both initially came out, but I waited and saw that they did good. Other companies and games aren't that lucky to get that type of treatment. But again, do what you will. I just wanted to be one of the many people that came out here and publicly called out Mudahar for this, for this, this blatant disrespect towards everyone he was telling to boycott Nintendo. Bro was telling us, boycott Nintendo, vote with your wallet. Make sure that they know we're not gonna feed into their greed. You can't make this up, man. I don't know what else to say. I mean, good for him. I hope he enjoys the Switch. I hope everyone who got a Switch 2 and was fortunate enough to get a Switch 2 is having a good time. I hope it is worth it for you. I hope it is the handheld you were expecting it to be, and that it was the product you bought. We're gonna skip over the fact that you basically signed an agreement to let them brick your Switch whenever they wanted to if you were doing something that you weren't supposed to, because technically now you don't really own your Switch 2, and they're basically, big brothering your fucking games. But hey, that's none of my business. You do you. I'm gonna go back to the console that I at least know I definitely own and can modify, and am not going to possibly get sued just for doing some type of repair or something. I don't know. Nintendo ninjas, don't come for me, please. I'm not bashing on you guys in any meaningful way that should be pertinent to you guys, besides the fact that you guys are very greedy and you guys like to, prey on the hearts of kids who very much enjoy these IPs and wait year after year to get a new game, and then give us the same 30 FPS graphic type game that doesn't improve upon anything, and it's just a copy paste version of the last game you released. But you know, it's okay. I mean, you guys have only been doing this for a couple years, and you guys, you know, make good money off of it. Of course, families are desperate enough to get the things that their kids want, because, you know, parents sometimes just want to be good parents, or, you know, they want to reward their kids with something that they think is good. And right now, the only good alternative for kids to play video games is the Nintendo Switch, which is an outrageously priced console that is going to put a lot of families probably in some sort of debt, because not everyone can afford all these things right off the bat without having to use a credit card, without having to take a loan, without having to do layaway, without having to do some type of borrowing. The rich majority can afford all these things day one, and they probably had these things shipped to their houses, no problem. But a lot of families that have multiple kids can't afford to buy multiple controllers at $80-$90 with the fucking attachment for $35. A lot of families can't afford to pay $180 for 2 games, because your game can't be game shared, you know, physically, when that was the whole point of physical cartridges, was you bought the game, you own the game, you're able to share it with someone else, you know, what have you. The game is yours. Why does it matter if I let my friend borrow my fucking cartridge and how long he gets to use it for if he didn't contribute to your sales? At the end of the day, you sold the game. The game is in someone who wants to play it, and that was the point of the game, was to get it to the people who wanted to play it and enjoy it, not so that you could sell them a little piece of paper with a code on so that we could redeem it and then talk about, oh, this is a good, you know, way to decrease whatever and be more sustainable and stuff. Like, half of your packaging is cardboard and plastic, and you want to talk about sustainability when we can move away from plastic things, and here we are contributing to more plastic waste. But that's a whole different situation. That's a whole different conversation. The whole point here is, again, guys, please, you know, be mindful of these kinds of things, because companies really see this and they feed into it. They see that we won't back down, and they see that people are willing to flip-flop on their views about these type of things and go and buy the overpriced products that they're releasing. But they don't know that we have a lot of power in what we can do. We have a lot of choices when it comes to what to buy and what not to buy. You could walk by a Nintendo Switch 2, see that they have Switches, and choose to walk away. I know the temptation is there. I know you may want to try the new features. You want to try that new controller. You want to snap it off because it's magnetic. You want to try the new remote. You want to try that camera. You want to try the fucking Discord copycat software that they basically had some intern code up for them on a summer and told them this is going to be revolutionary, just for them to paywall a fucking button on your controller that also paywalls that said software that you're going to use to talk to your friends, when you could very easily just get on Discord, hop in a group, game share, screen share. You can't game share the way they're talking about, right? Game share where they're able to play the game if they don't own it, but that's just once. But you can screen share and still see other people play. Like, this isn't revolutionary tech that just came out. This stuff has been out for years, and Nintendo openly chose not to include these type of things because they wanted to limit the things that you could do already by the fact that a lot of things are paywalled. Your button, your C button on your Switch, yeah, guess what? You don't actually own that. I don't know if you knew, but the little C button right there is locked behind a paywall subscription where you have to have Nintendo Switch Online, so that when you press the button, it obviously pulls up the software that some intern probably coded late night after being rushed and being told that he needed it now when they weren't going to unveil it for months later. It's just Discord. It's Discord on the Nintendo Switch 2 for free, minus everything else with groups and being talked to by an old man who's sitting behind his computer with his wang out. That's the only difference here. But you're just doing it with friends. Like, again, these were things that could have been added long ago, and they just chose not to. They chose to stay in the fucking Stone Ages and not give you guys revolutionary new features that are good. Here we are with the PS5. The vibration is crazy. The way it adapts to games is wild. The trigger adaptation is so amazing that I play video games and I can feel the difference, and I think that's really cool. The speakers are very nice. It's crazy that you can just talk through your microphone from your controller without the need of a headset if you really wanted to. And I mean, that's the same thing that's going to happen here. But they did it way beforehand. They didn't need some crazy incentive. They didn't need to add up $300 extra for a feature that should have already been there. If you think about it, what do you mean? Nintendo games, you can't talk to your friends online. You can't do this without having to be in a separate call just to be able to do something like that. That's outrageous to me. And not only that, but most people are going to get confused when they see this and they press the C button for the home button. You're telling me Nintendo, a revolutionary company who has made video games for years and consoles for years, didn't realize that maybe it'd be good to put the home button where the C button is, because people are going to go based off of muscle memory from owning the original Switch, knowing that the home button is the very bottom one? Like, what is that? What are we doing here? Is anyone actually designing these things, or are you guys throwing it into an AI prompt to tell you new ideas for a possible game design? This looks like something that you could throw into ChatGPT. Give me something round, nice, no curves and edges. I just want something that looks sleek and very nice and modern in the day today. And this is what it shot out. Like, what are we doing here, man? You know, I don't know. I mean, you guys seem to think it's worth the $450, the $500 with the bundle. So you guys do you. But I'm not gonna sit by and let, you know, someone who spent a long time talking about this and advocating for these type of things, not only with just Nintendo, but other gaming companies, other games in general, releases that we've had, and then flip-flop on us like as if he wasn't telling us to fucking boycott the game, like as if he wasn't telling us that we needed to stand up against this. Like, it's infuriating, because we the smaller man, you know, the smaller people down here, where we're not able to benefit from the things that you bigger people are able to benefit from, don't have the luxury of dropping $500 on the midnight release because we decided, oh, you know what, I'm actually gonna give it a try because they seem to have stock and the scalpers didn't get to it. What type of BS is that, bro? Just because the scalpers didn't buy out the entire Best Buy and your fucking Nintendo Switch 2 was sitting there when you walked by, doesn't mean you must now flip-flop on your beliefs to then be like, okay, I'm gonna get it and make a video on it. Like, what? You know, I just think that's crazy. But hopefully Mudahar has seen the comments, and hopefully it gets to him, because I just find it highly disappointing that, you know, there are gamers who are actively frustrated with this type of thing, this price gouging, this harping on people's money, and definitely want to see a change. I mean, I definitely missed the times when games were $60 and at most $70 for a deluxe. I could understand that. That one was reasonable. But now games are $70, $90 deluxe, $120 ultra deluxe, and then, you know, $200 collector's editions. Like, what are we doing here? We're just playing a video game. And at the end of the day, I think it's very much the fact that the people on top are people who have never touched a video game a day in their life and are only businessmen, are only business women. I don't know who's up there, right? Whatever, fuck. Business people, business things, only business things oriented people are up there doing business-like decisions to get more business out of us. And that's just all it is at the end of the day to them. It's a business. And I get it, you know, they're trying to make money and they're trying to make profit, but I don't understand this infatuation with companies just wanting more and more and more. Holy shit, you sold millions and millions of fucking dollars and you still want more. God forbid you dropped 1 million from what you made the last month, and now you feel like you're going down in hell, like you're burning and the office is going down in an earthquake or something because you guys sold 1 million less and now you have to up your prices or something like that. Like, I think that's so regarded that we just that's just how we think of things. Like, what do you mean? Like, companies can't stay in the green and be happy with that. They just have to go further, you know. They're so scared that being in the green for too long is suddenly going to dip them into the red, and in cases it does if your company isn't doing anything to keep sales up in a more meaningful way, like releasing worth it products that people will buy more of over time rather than upping the prices so that you have more money despite less units sold just because of the prices. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's it for me. This 10-15 minute rant turned into 40 minutes of me clowning on bro and the entire situation. But I just hope you guys understand where the frustration comes from, because Mudahar wasn't the only YouTube creator who did this. There are obviously other creators who have done such a thing, said that they weren't going to do it, avidly claimed that they were against it, definitely spoke up about the entire situation, but here we are, And to them, again, have fun, do what you will with that, whatever. But don't come on here talking about, starting boycotts and talking about what us as consumers should do when you're just going to go against all of that, and you're going to make us look like goofies for thinking that you were going to be one of the bigger ones on top to stand behind us. I think that's very disingenuous, and I think definitely, an apology is owed to at least your subscribers who were wholeheartedly behind you in the idea and actually thought that something would come out of it. You're a big enough channel that you could rally people enough, and you have friends with big enough channels that you guys could have done something to spread the word and maybe get like an event going, maybe get a trend going, something, you could have done something. And it's just frustrating that here we are seeing him kind of basically laugh in our faces because he got a Switch 2 and he's playing and having fun. But that's all I got. Hey, what's going on, guys? Post-edit Vex here, and I just wanted to chime in one last time before I ended the video just to address the fact that Mudahar did in fact actually respond, and he did apologize to everyone. The video dropped yesterday. It's called Sorry, and he starts it off by just admitting, that he was wrong. He made the purchase, he knew that he was boycotting, and he knew that he had rallied a bunch of different people to do so, and and influenced a good amount of his subscribers to vote with their wallet, as he has famously said many times over. And he accepts that he fucked up, he bought the Switch 2 despite saying that he wasn't going to, and the excuse was BS. Bro really tried to claim, they had stock, surprisingly, after numerous years of no stock being had and pre-order selling out. I figured I'd just try it. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what reasoning you had for trying the product. Another reasoning he gives is the fact that he wanted to see if the Switch 2 was just honestly not a complete brick. Like, he claims that he wanted to see if you could start the Switch without having to update, need an internet connection or anything like that, like most things do nowadays, where you can't do anything without it having to be updated first or something of the like. He said he wanted to test that to make sure that consumers weren't getting told wrong about the device that they're buying. But it's like, gang, that isn't your job. Again, there are other channels for those people who had actively said they were still going to buy it and got their backlash, and they could do the reviews. There's no need for you to bring yourself down to a level where your audience is going to bash you over something that you claimed were going to do and then backtrack on. Like, we're not gonna bash you for it. But since you went out of your way to do this and try and make it seem like you're doing it for other reasons, that isn't your job, gang. Just like it wasn't, it doesn't make sense to me, right? I don't understand what you thought was going to happen. Again, like I said in my in the earlier video right now, you have an influence, and you clearly influenced a good amount of people to actively boycott Nintendo. People who thought that you were going to stand 10 toes down on your beliefs and not backtrack on them, like an apology video, like a YouTuber. But here we are. I guess I should have expected that. You are a YouTuber, so it isn't anything new. But bro, really? You wanted to make sure the Nintendo Switch 2 wasn't a brick? You wanted to make sure that Cyberpunk ran physically on the disc? Like, what type of BS excuses are these? You have Cyberpunk. You've played Cyberpunk. You wanted to see if it was a good handheld to run on? You wanted to see the performance and everything? Dude, you couldn't have waited for someone to make a review video? You were so desperate and horny for a review that you had to go and get one yourself just to backtrack on your beliefs and what you told us that you were going to stand by. Like, I can't understand that level of cope, honestly. If you want to say that that's what it is, cool, go ahead. Your viewers that have forgiven you and whatever the fuck, that's fine. Your viewers are going to be there. You're a very popular channel. Every once in a while, I even still stop by and watch a video or two. I can't watch all of them anymore just because sometimes the way you sit and flip-flop on certain things, it just doesn't sit with me sometimes, but it just depends on what you're making the video on, and I'll watch it a time or two. I'm still subscribed, despite my gripes with you. I do understand that you have good content at times, and there are contents where you will unfortunately have a lack of information or do something wrong, and that's fine. It happens. YouTubers aren't perfect, and I'm not expecting them to, but in this case I was, because you made so many public videos denouncing Nintendo for their actions, and now here we are a day later, you know? Like, it is what it is, gang. You apologized, you did your thing, you came and owned up to it. You know, told a bunch of people you were going to boycott this, and told a bunch of people to vote with their wallets, and you didn't vote with your wallet, and that's okay. It is what it is. You know, life is going to move on for the rest of us, and the rest of us are going to remain without a Switch 2 while you get to enjoy yours, and that's fine. Again, there's no gripe with the people who bought a Switch 2 and were able to buy a Switch 2. If you were able to, good for you. You had the money, you were able to spend it, and I hope it was money well spent for what you got, because from what I'm hearing, there's a couple, you know, unpleasant features that the Switch has, and the fact that they can just break your device whenever they want if they deem what you're doing isn't Nintendo TOS, I think it's BS. You paid $500 fucking dollars for your device, and you can't even use it as your own. So if buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing, and I stand by that. Because I'm not going to let some fucking multi-million, almost billion company tell me what I can and can't do with my money when it is my money that I am working for to contribute to their sales. So that's all I had to say. I just wanted to address that. He did apologize. So for those of you guys who were actively as pissed as I am, if an apology is something that you guys thought you deserved or wanted to receive from him, he has since apologized. You can go check out the video. It's 11 minutes. I've seen the entire thing. I don't agree with his reasoning still. Honestly, that could have been left to someone else. There are many other tech channels that focus on these type of things. Handheld review channels. Actually, I'll put you guys on right now. Retro Game Core. This guy right here is the best channel aside from a couple other ones that I've seen. Him, Ryan's Retro Games or something like that. Ryan's Retro channel right here, Ryan Retro. These are pretty good guys. They review the consoles, they tell you what to expect, they tell you what you can run, things like that. These are very good review channels that would have done the review that Mudahar is talking about. They would have pointed these things out, especially Russ from Retro Game Core. This man goes through every small single detail, gives you the good, gives you the bad, gives you his personal opinion, and gives you, you know, a good review of what you expect. He goes through the Switch 2, shows you the stuff, shows you the specs, whatever. It's a good video. I definitely recommend if you want to see Switch 2 reviews and you want to see someone who's not going to be biased towards the whole situation, maybe this is a good channel to come check out. I don't know his bias towards Nintendo historically. You know, he said his channel just kind of started up, so it's up in the air. But there are channels there you could have gone for this type of review that Mudahar is claiming. So I just don't think that his reasons suffice. And I think that, yeah, it's a bad look on him on all ends. He didn't stick by what he said, and unfortunately we took the brunt end of it. So yeah, thank you guys. I'll see you guys later. Hey, what's going on, guys? Post-edit Vex here, and I just wanted to chime in one last time before I ended the video just to address the fact that Mudahar did in fact actually respond, and he did apologize to everyone. The video dropped yesterday. It's called Sorry. And he starts it off by just admitting, yeah, that he was wrong. He made the purchase. He knew that he was boycotting, and he knew that he had rallied a bunch of different people to do so, and, you know, it influenced a good amount of his subscribers to vote with their wallet, as he has famously said many times over. And he accepts that he fucked up, you know? He bought the Switch 2 despite saying that he wasn't going to, and the excuse was BS. Bro really tried to claim, oh, they had stock, surprisingly, after numerous years of no stock being had and, you know, pre-order selling out. I figured I'd just try it. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what reasoning you had for trying the product. Another reasoning he gives is the fact that he wanted to see if the Switch 2 was just honestly not a complete brick. Like, he claims that he wanted to see if you could start the Switch without having to update, need an internet connection or anything like that, like most things do nowadays, where you can't do anything without it having to be updated first or something of the like. He said he wanted to test that to make sure that consumers weren't getting told wrong about the device that they're buying. But it's like, gang, that isn't your job. Again, there are other channels for those people who had actively said they were still going to buy it and got their backlash, and they could do the reviews. There's no need for you to bring yourself down to a level where your audience is going to bash you over something that you claimed we're going to do and then backtrack on. Like, we're not gonna like bash you for it. But since you went out of your way to do this and try and make it seem like you're doing it for other reasons, that isn't your job, gang. Just like it wasn't, you know, it doesn't make sense to me, right? I don't understand what you thought was going to happen. I mean, again, like I said in my in the earlier video right now, you have an influence, and you clearly influenced a good amount of people to actively boycott Nintendo. People who thought that you were going to stand 10 toes down on your beliefs and not backtrack on them, like an apology video, you know, like a YouTuber. But here we are. I mean, I guess I should have expected that. You are a YouTuber, so it isn't anything new. But bro, like, really? You wanted to make sure the Nintendo Switch 2 wasn't a brick? You wanted to make sure that Cyberpunk ran physically on the disc? Like, what type of BS excuses are these? You have Cyberpunk. You've played Cyberpunk. You wanted to see if it was a good handheld to run on? You wanted to see the performance and everything? Dude, you couldn't have waited for someone to make a review video? You were so desperate and horny for a review that you had to go and get one yourself just to backtrack on your beliefs and what you told us that you were going to stand by. Like, I can't understand that level of cope, honestly. If you want to say that that's what it is, cool, go ahead. Your viewers that have, you know, forgiven you and whatever the fuck, that's fine. I mean, you know, your viewers are going to be there. You're a very popular channel. Every once in a while, I even still stop by and watch a video or two. I can't watch all of them anymore just because sometimes the way you sit and flip-flop on certain things, it just doesn't sit with me sometimes, you know? But it just depends on what you're making the video on, and I'll watch it a time or two. I'm still subscribed, you know, despite my gripes with you. I do understand that you have good content at times, and there are contents where you will unfortunately have a lack of information or do something wrong, and that's fine. It happens. YouTubers aren't perfect, and I'm not expecting them to, but in this case I was, because you made so many public videos denouncing Nintendo for their actions, and now here we are a day later, you know? Like, it is what it is, gang. You apologized, you did your thing, you came and owned up to it. You know, told a bunch of people you were going to boycott this, and told a bunch of people to vote with their wallets, and you didn't vote with your wallet, and that's okay. It is what it is. You know, life is going to move on for the rest of us, and the rest of us are going to remain without a Switch 2 while you get to enjoy yours, and that's fine. Again, there's no gripe with the people who bought a Switch 2 and were able to buy a Switch 2. If you were able to, good for you. You had the money, you were able to spend it, and I hope it was money well spent for what you got, because from what I'm hearing, there's a couple, you know, unpleasant features that the Switch has, and the fact that they can just break your device whenever they want if they deem what you're doing isn't Nintendo TOS, I think it's BS. You paid $500 fucking dollars for your device, and you can't even use it as your own. So if buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing, and I stand by that. Because I'm not gonna let some fucking multi-million, almost billion company tell me what I can and can't do with my money when it is my money that I am working for to contribute to their sales. So that's all I had to say. I just wanted to address that. He did apologize, so for those of you guys who were actively as pissed as I am, if an apology is something that you guys thought you deserved or wanted to receive from him, he has since apologized. You can go check out the video. It's 11 minutes. I've seen the entire thing. I don't agree with his reasoning still. Honestly, that could have been left to someone else. There are many other tech channels that focus on these type of things. Handheld review channels. Actually, I'll put you guys on right now. Retro Game Core. This guy right here is the best channel aside from a couple other ones that I've seen. Him, Ryan's Retro Games or something like that. Ryan's Retro channel right here, Ryan Retro. These are pretty good guys. They review the consoles, they tell you what to expect, they tell you what you can run, things like that. These are very good review channels that would have done the review that Mudahar is talking about. They would have pointed these things out, especially Russ from Retro Game Core. This man goes through every small single detail, gives you the good, gives you the bad, gives you his personal opinion, and gives you, you know, a good review of what you expect. He goes through the Switch 2, shows you the stuff, shows you the specs, whatever. It's a good video. I definitely recommend if you want to see Switch 2 reviews and you want to see someone who's not going to be biased towards the whole situation, maybe this is a good channel to come check out. I don't know his bias towards Nintendo historically. You know, he said his channel just kind of started up, so it's up in the air. But there are channels there you could have gone for this type of review that Mudahar is claiming. So I just don't think that his reasons suffice And I think that, yeah, it's a bad look on him on all ends. He didn't stick by what he said, and unfortunately we took the brunt end of it. So yeah, thank you guys. I'll see you guys later.